Let's go, right?
Let's go.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's start immediately at the front of us with our beautiful belfry tower in the middle of the market square. It's the symbol of the city. It's 83 meter high, constructed in sandstone in the 13th century. It has 366 steps to do today if you like to see the 47 noisy clocks and a beautiful panoramic view over the city. You will find belfry towers in the north of France, in Flanders, and there's one in the Netherlands. And they all symbolizing power and freedom of strong medieval cities. It was a perfect tower as a defense to have a view over the city, and for all the dangers they had in the past, there was a different bell going on. Now today all the bells together are playing the nice melodies for us. Tell you about the history of this beautiful canals. It started somewhere a long time ago with a huge storm that created a natural channel to the beginning of our city. The people saw that as a good opportunity for trading and creating more canals over the Middle Ages for the best way to transport everything they needed. And that's the result today. It's protected by UNESCO. And there was no longer needed for transport in the city center. On the left side hand, the big white building up here, that's an old monastery of the 17th century. And now today it's one of the departments of the Europe College. It's over there they're training post-academy to be a good economist, a lawyer or a politician for the strongness of Europe. Let's hope they're doing well for us, we'll see. On the right hand side, beautiful examples of the typical Bruges step gable houses from the 17th century. What we see very often on these houses about the windows and the entry of the houses are faces. Some of the faces are recognized now as the owners of these houses. But the scary and ugly looking ones between, they have nothing to do with the family, but people also have a lot of superstition in the 17th century, and they thought they could keep the evil spirits outside the house with this. So at the front of us, straight on, that's the old commercial connection to our North Sea. It's a beautiful walking or biking along the old canal. And that's what people doing a lot in their free time here. You will find our countryside over there, but also after 10 kilometers, the North Sea. The family with the swans on the panel view on the right. It's the only family for the moment on the Bruges Canal with 5 little ones. And the reason of that is We have to save the other swans on the other side because there is a bacteria growing in the canals and we have to do something. So they are in another safe place for the moment. It's safe. The only swans over there is better. There's a lot more streaming up there, so they can handle it. But in the city center, they have to do something. So you won't see any swans anymore normally. On our left side hand, the two white houses on the corner. You will see strange blinded or false windows in there. You can see it as an example what the window tax is doing with the houses. We are not the only city with that. But over here it was the French department with Napoleon Bonaparte that put a tax on every window when the sunshine came through. So to avoid the tax, saving some money, they were blinded their windows like this. Alright. Welcome on the boat life. But it's summer, eh? There's another example here on the right corner. I can find easily a lot more of them over the city. And that kind of tax doesn't exist anymore since World War I. But don't worry, eh? We have other enjoyable taxes now, we didn't really stop. On the left-hand side over here, that's the youngest neighborhood in our city center from around the 18th century. And there's a little harbor up there. From over there we can sailing with a little private boat to the city of Ghent. You also can sailing your little private boat up there in the city center. In boats, unfortunately, it's not allowed over here. No fishing, no swimming, no private boats. But that was very different in the Middle Ages, of course. People were working, or the merchants were working and living along the canal with their boats. And that's the reason we see a lot of low door entries along the canal. And at the front of you, ladies and gentlemen, it's one of the beautiful views that you can have make. If you wanted to have your beautiful picture. You see the cathedral in the back up there, the tower, on the right the old Justice Palace with the 4 small pigeon towers, together with the oldest bridge over here. Always nice to see. On the left we're gonna have a view over the old fish market up there, dating back to 1822, where we're still selling a little bit fish from the North Sea over there a couple of mornings in a week. But it's not so much anymore like the old days, unfortunately. It's more and more a display for the local artists and the tourists now. In the past we had really 2 fish markets. This one was more for the rich people with the North Sea fish, and at that time there was no refrigerator, no ice, so the quality went down. The next day they sold it to on the other square together with the cheaper river fish. At the front of us, this nice building with this unique wooden facade is one of the most romantic hotels in Europe, the Relais Rounded Carrousel. It's also one of the oldest hotels in our city. It became more famous for the tourists with the movie In Bruges with Colin Farrell. It was over here that the actor jumped out of his window to escape with one of the boats. There was also a time that the Spanish were here for a long time. They were so kind to leave us this beautiful old council house of the family Mavendra. Now, sorry for that, we changed it to our biggest beer palace now. They're offering more than 1,000 beers over here. It's famous for its beer wall and the exclusive Belgian products. On the right hand side, one of the two old breweries that are still active in the city, the one in the Flandre. As you can see, you have to start early. And at the front of us, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a magnificent point of view over the Holy Lady Mary Church. It's 122 meter high, constructed in brickstone. It's the second highest brickstone building in Europe. It's a very valuable church to visit. You will find the masterpiece of Michelangelo over there, the Madonna with the Child in marble. Also the two grave tombs of Maria de Burgundia. And at the feet of the church, we see down the Bruges Palace. And the Bruges family was the most powerful family over here between the 13th and the 15th century. On the right hand side, a beautiful point of view here. At the front of us, it's one of the highlights in our city. It's certainly more than ever since social media. It's a nice spot. I can show you that when it's not so busy, but otherwise it's difficult. On the left side here, the typical small Bruges houses. There are a lot of them in this neighborhood. One door, one window, one room. It was a poor neighborhood. Now today the little houses are very popular. They're not so cheap anymore. And on the right hand side, the place where it all started for me. This is the old St. Jan Hospital. They started to construct this hospital in the 12th century. And it was growing together with the city over the ages as a very important place for the sick pilgrims, travelers and our local people. Had the service in the city as a hospital until 1976, what makes this place also my birthplace. It's one of the longest working and oldest hospitals surviving in Europe. Now today it's a museum named by the painter Hans Memling, and they're also housing a pharmacy of the 17th century. need your full attention. As you can see now at the front of us, we have to go under the lowest bridge today. And there's not a lot of space up there. It's also over there, we're losing every year someone not listening very well to the captain. So please be wise, stay seated, mind your heads, right? It's a very tricky bridge, you will see. It goes more down to the end, so don't be mistaken.
Head down.
Yes, get down. Alright, well done guys, well done. And so ladies and gentlemen, welcome in our little paradise. That belongs more to the beginners on the right, and we're, like I told you, where we mostly find swans together, but because of that problem, you won't see them. Sorry for that. So Begans were unmarried women working and living together in a closed, serene, protected community. It was founded by Margarita from Constantinople, one of the most powerful women we had in our history. The story of the Begans that started somewhere with a man. A lot of the men went to wars and not many of them came back. So after a while we had more than 10,000 women unmarried over here. And so started this story of the Begans, women that were forced to help each other by living and working together to survive. A nice place to visit, very peaceful, and it's free. At the front of you, the old Luck House that is out of service since the 1970s, but it helped us controlling the city water over the ages. It's connected with the Lake of Love, and we have fresh water up here. So the streaming is from the inside the country to the North Sea, where we were first in the beginning of the tour. And on the right side hand over here, maybe you already noticed the strong smell around here. That's the responsible one. That's the old brewery. They started in 1856 along the canal, and they are very successful, this one. They are so successful, the capacity was growing all the time, and they needed to find a solution. And that was the pipeline. The pipeline that goes from the brewery outside the city to bottle over there. That was to avoid all the trucks in the city center. And they're brewing today, as you can smell. It tastes better than it smells, of course. They're brewing our local beer, Presses Up and Stravahendrik. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, mind your heads again. We have some experience now, eh? So be working well. Be careful. Ding dong, ding dong. At the front of you, we have a view over the cathedral now. Saint Saviour, that's also the oldest city church from the 13th century. It's recently finished to renovate it, inside, outside. It went over many years to do that, and it's free to visit, so it's nice to see. So generally the waters are healthy because we have carps and eels over here. There are 5 lucky family companies with each 4 boats, so that means on a busy day 20 boats. Most of the boats are electric, like ours. Still some gasolines, but in 2028 also be electric. Sorry. On the left side hand, let's have another look to the hospital where we see the dead chapels. A little bit creepy to tell you, but in that time they were picking up the bodies under the ground floor over there with small boats along the canal. That was for them safer. There were unknown diseases, people were scared. They didn't have the same knowledge as today, of course. So there's a new decision also from the city hall or the mayor in 2029. We're not going to speak anymore with speakers. Also be with headphones. And that's of course for the neighbors. It's, on the right hand side over here, one of the few original wooden houses we have. It belongs to our royal family, but it's these days a B&B. It's a very special one. On the left side, the Goethe's Palace again, where we're also going to find the smallest Gothic window in there. And this is not the toilet window, It was a very important window. It was created for spying. Was obligated to pay a tax over there to the family, so they were watching you if things going correctly. If not, well, these people were justice in that time. And torture was very normal for them. The only bridge in town that has a house constructed on the bridge. It's also a bridge that is constructed over 3 different ages, as you can see, of the different kind of constructions and materials. The lower part is the oldest one. On the right corner here, a nice city plan in lace. It reminds us that our city was world famous for its lace in the Middle Ages. Not anymore so much, it's more chocolates and waffles, right? But we still have our lace schools, and they are again very popular, so maybe it's coming back. We will see. On the right, one of the oldest places in our city. It's well known for its antique and flea markets. Hello. And you have to be careful, because a moment without attention, it picks it, It bites it and it goes with the bread. So like this, ladies and gentlemen, we also nearing the end of the tour, but I do hope you enjoyed it together with me. The beautiful views over the Bruges canals and the explanation of the captain. It was a pleasure to guide you. Appreciate it. You always can thank your captain over here with a little tip over here on Thursday days. I'm always very happy and thankful for that. For the rest, I wish you all a wonderful day in Bruges. Take care of each other, especially today with the heat, and hopefully we see